What's going on, everyone? My name is Greg, and today we're taking a look at how to make hyperlapses. A lot of people will tell you that the easiest way is with a gimbal or shooting a video and just speeding it up, but I'm here to kind of disagree. The way I prefer to do it is by shooting a sequence of raw photos and not on a tripod, just handheld, one step by one step. And the reason for this is that it gives you the most flexibility in post while editing. So if you're editing a sequence of raw photos, you can customize a whole bunch of different things like I'm about to show you in a few minutes. But basically, let me show you what this looks like, and then I'll come back and explain a little bit more before we get into the editing process. Now that you know what it looks like to actually be taking a hyperlapse, I know it's a little bit weird, but trust me, it'll turn out okay. Let me explain it a little bit more just so that you're sure you know how to do this. So what you want to do is first enable a few things on your camera. First, you want to put it in single drive mode, and then you want to put it in single point autofocus. Lastly, you want to enable the digital leveler on your camera, and now that we have all these things set up, we can get started actually shooting the hyperlapse. So basically what you want to do is lock on the single autofocus point on your camera to a small object on the building or the subject, whatever you're filming. Just make sure to keep that point consistent and not move it throughout the hyperlapse at all. Secondly, you want to enable the digital leveler, and every single shot, make sure the level is flat. This way, it'll make it as easy as possible for whatever program you're using while editing to make sure everything is smooth. So basically, you're lining up the same point and the same level every single photo. You're taking a photo, taking a step, recomposing, make sure everything is the same, taking a photo, and just continuing that for as long as you want, anywhere from 24 photos to 400 photos, or no specific number. You just want to keep in mind that it'll either take 24 or 30 photos depending on your project timeline, just for 1 second of video. So this may take a few minutes, but it's definitely faster than using a tripod like a lot of other people recommend. But now that we have our actual photos, let's dive into the computer and start processing this. So as you can see here, we have a whole bunch of photos from Paris, where I was about 2 weeks ago, and we're going to be editing a hyperlapse of this arc, which is right in front of the Louvre Museum. So press D on your keyboard or go to the Develop module of Lightroom, and we're actually going to be processing these photos with my Lightroom presets, which you can check out on my website up here if you're interested. Now that we're in here, you can see my preset on the left hand side, and we're just going to press GS1. So my first reaction is that it looks pretty good, but it's a little bit cool, so we're just going to warm this up a tiny bit, maybe to there. And then as you can see, the ground is a little bit bright, so I'm just going to take that down with the highlights, and then we should be good to go. Perfect, so this actually looks good to me, and we can always make some extra changes afterwards in Final Cut Pro or Premiere when we're editing the final sequence. But for now, let's just apply this to all photos, and then we can worry about that later. So the way we do that is you select the first photo, as we already are, and you go all the way to the last photo in the hyperlapse sequence. You press the Shift button and click on that last photo, and then all you want to do in the bottom right corner is press this Sync button and check all of these settings, then just press Synchronize. So as you can see in the bottom over here, I have 118 photos selected, which are all synced now, which is going to be perfect for editing. So now to export those, you just right click on any of them, press Export, and then go up to the top, export again, and I'm going to be editing this in a 4K sequence, so scroll down to image sizing and make sure the resize to fit is on short edge, which is the side in this case. And normally a 4K short edge sequence is 2160 pixels, but just for some extra room, because this is not a 16:9 photo, I'm going to do it to 2400 pixels, which allows some room for scaling. Resolution you can do to 250, and everything else should be good. I'm just going to put this in a subfolder on my desktop so it's easy to find. I'm just going to call it hyperlapse, just hyperlapse, and then press export. Since your computer is going to go ahead and export nearly 120 raw photos, this may take a while, so sit back, relax, come back to your computer, and then we can move forward with the rest. Alright, so now we're back. It's a few minutes later, all the photos finished exporting from Lightroom, and now it's time to head into After Effects. So we're just going to press Create New Project, And then we're going to right click on this project bin and press import file, or press Command I or Windows I, whatever operating system you're on. And we're going to desktop, and we will find the hyperlapse folder right here. So what you're going to do is simply click on the first photo in the sequence and press force alphabetical order. Now you just press open, and everything will import together. You only have to press the first photo, which is pretty nice. So now it automatically creates the sequence and creates the hyperlapse. So if you scroll through, your computer may have a hard time doing this, but all the photos will be very choppy because it's very hard, even though you're aligning the same autofocus point and the level grid, it's very hard to keep it exactly aligned. So as you can see, it's pretty jumpy, but that's where Warp Stabiliser comes into handy. So in the Effects and Presets tab on the right, we're just going to type in Warp, and you'll see Warp Stabiliser down here, and just drag and drop that onto the clip. Now again, this is going to take a few minutes. I know this process is kind of just a lot of doing stuff and then waiting for more. However, it's going to end up looking good in the end. So now we just have to give it a few more minutes, and this should analyze pretty quickly, then we'll be back. Alright, so that only took a minute or two, but now we're back and ready to see what this did. So let's just play it through and hope for the best. So that actually looks pretty good, and now to export it, we're just going to go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue, and then over here we can just make sure everything is set up correctly. So we want it in 24 frames per second, best quality, full resolution, okay. We want it to be in Apple ProRes 422 in my case because I'm on a Mac, and RGB, perfect. And then I'll output it to hyperlapse, and I'll just call it hyperlapse.mov. So we're gonna press save, press render, and then this should only take a few seconds, but then we'll have our completed hyperlapse. Cool, so now that we have our hyperlapse, you can put that into any editing program, whether it's Premiere, Final Cut, or whatever you use, and that's the video. So it ended up looking pretty smooth. The colors are great using the presets, which again, you can take a look up here. And basically, this is the process that I use to edit every single hyperlapse. It works the best for me, and I prefer it over the other methods. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, follow me on Instagram, that'd be greatly appreciated. And subscribe for more. I will see you in the next one. Bye.